İzmir'den Ege Üniversitesi Bornova kampüsünden herkese sevgiler. Bas Pedala Bisikletli Yaşam rehberine hoş geldiniz. Bu bölümde tarihi dokusu ve kozmopolit yapısıyla her yıl çok sayıda turist ağırlayan Berlin'deyiz. 3,5 milyonluk nüfusuna rağmen Berlin tam bir bisiklet şehri olarak öne çıkıyor. Şimdi gelin bu bölümde neler izleyeceğimize bir göz atalım. Bas Pedala başlıyor. İlk konuğumuz 2 yaşındaki Rio. Ancak kendisi henüz konuşamadığı için babasına kulak vereceğiz. İkinci konuğumuz New York ve Berlin'de bisikletli kuryelik yapmış olan Mortimer. Kendisi tam bir klasik bisiklet koleksiyoncusu. Ardından yurt dışından gelerek Berlin'e yerleşen 2 konuğumuz olacak. Rachel ve Olga, Berlin'de ucuz bisiklet kiralama hizmeti veren Bikesurf'ü anlatacak. Ve son olarak bisikletli tur rehberi Julian ile mesleği hakkında keyifli bir sohbet gerçekleştireceğiz. Bisiklete bindiğiniz o ilk anı hatırlıyor musunuz? Her sabah bisikletle okula götürülen Rio'nun bu keyifli yolculukları hiç unutmayacağı kesin.
This is Rio, I'm Martin, and this is what we do every morning. So we are heading for the kindergarten, and usually at exactly 7:30, this is what we do. He likes very much to go by bicycle in the morning, and when I take the helmet off, he usually comes in. Oh, when it rains and snows, not so much. Today it's a little better, but it's our first season in kindergarten, so we have to make the experience how much rain and snow we would accept. Ist es trocken. Nein, heute ist es nass. Yeah, I would take half an hour to my kindergarten because it's outside, like the direction out of the city, and again half an hour to my work, and in the evening from my work to here, like half an hour again. So I'm 1.5 hours each day on the bike. But when I go there by car, it would take 1 hour all in all, but still I would need to find a parking place, and that would take half an hour again. So it is really faster to use the bicycle. Also, it takes even the same time than using the underground line. Usually I would say car drivers in Berlin compared to other cities are much more sensitive on bikers.
Bize burada veda eden Rio, Avrupa'da her sabah bisikletle okula giden binlerce çocuktan yalnızca biri. Sıradaki konuğumuz 30 yıldır bisikleti hayatından hiç eksik etmemiş biri, Mortimer. Yıllarca kuryelik yapmış olan Mortimer, şimdi Berlin'de bisiklet kullanıcılarını bir araya getiren bir kafenin sahibi.
In the 80s, the BMX got really popular. So when I was 9 years old, I wanted a BMX. I wanted a BMX bike. And for my 10th birthday, I got a BMX bike. And then I was only cycling. I was not interested in anything. I started a little skateboarding, but then I did like BMXing for 10 years. And then when I was 20, I became a bike messenger. So now I'm 40. So basically I'm 30 years involved in the bike scene. And yeah, for me the bicycle was always something, of course, to get around, get from A to B, but also like, I don't know, it's like a big part of me. I have, of course, many bicycles, but started with the BMX bike, and then it became the mountain bike, then messengering, then road bike, and then at one point fixed gear, and now we all have cargo bikes.
Uzun süre New York'ta çalışan Mortimer, Amerikalıların ve Almanların bisiklete bakışını şöyle değerlendiriyor.
I worked in the States as a bike messenger for like 5 years, so I mean the US is very, very different. And when I came to New York City in 1998, everybody who rode a bicycle was very left-wing, kind of anarchy, green. It was kind of like a political statement to ride a bicycle. Nowadays it also became a trend. Like New York has many bike lanes now, and it's very different than here. Like in Berlin, like in Copenhagen and Amsterdam, people don't really demonstrate for the bicycle anymore, nor we really have a critical mass anymore, because the bicycle is pretty much integrated in our culture and life. And in the US, it's more, yeah, they still have to fight for the rights of a bicycle. And if I compare the US to Berlin, then I think the Americans, I wouldn't say they respect the bicycle more, but for the Americans, the car is just an instrument. If you ride in New York on the street and the car cuts you off and you hit the car driver goes like, oh, sorry. If you do that here, they chase you. They go over red lights against traffic, and because it's their car, it's a status symbol. They have a big Mercedes-Benz and they work their whole life to have this stupid car. And in a way, yeah, the car is a very holy thing here in Berlin, which I never understand. But I guess that's the difference also between the US and in Berlin or the Germans.
Birçok bisikletlinin buluştuğu bu kafenin kurulma hikayesini Mortimer şöyle anlatıyor.
The idea is really old because we went to a Cycle Messenger World Championships in Toronto in 1995. Like Gary was there and I was there. And in Toronto there's the Jet Fuel coffee shop, which is from a former bike messenger. He opened like a coffee shop, which is only a coffee shop with a little bike theme, and we were always like, when we stop messengering, we're gonna open something for the community. So that was in '95, and in 2004 we finally opened. Messengers can hang out, and cyclists, and can have a coffee and get their bike fixed. And I'm running this bicycle coffee shop with my friend Gary together. We've been doing this since 2004. It's like a bicycle store with a coffee shop and a little culture, because we kind of want to bring the bicycle to people with the culture, not only with the bicycle, with the whole thing that's behind the bicycle, that it's not only about doping and Lance Armstrong. There's more to the bike: history, art, fashion, etc. There's more and more bike shops popping up everywhere. Now everybody thinks, let's do a bike shop, you can make a lot of money. I mean, I think a bike shop is not really about money. It's about, you have to have the passion and the love for the bicycle, and you have to understand about the bicycle too, when you repair a bike. I mean, it's kind of like if a car would be more and more popular and everybody will repair cars. It's the same with the bicycle. There's a lot of people out there who run bike shops who shouldn't do bike shops, but I guess in a way it's of course cool. More and more bike shops reach more and more people. That means hopefully less and less cars, and yeah.
Şimdi gelin hep beraber Mortimer'in klasik bisiklet koleksiyonuna bir göz atalım.
I mean, this bicycle is Koichi Nakano's bicycle, who was the first ever sprinter or cyclist who won 10 times in a row the World Championships. And this is this original bike from 1985. And very rare. We're really proud to have this bike here. My favorite bike is this Polrad, is a Polauke, which is a Berlin frame builder. And supposedly it's built in the same year I was born. And it's nothing really so super special. It's just a track bike with nice Dura-Ace equipment, and I like the fork. I like the color paint job, and yeah, it's maybe the Berliner in me that really likes this bicycle. This is the FES bike of Stefan Steinweg, who won the 1992 4,000 meter race, team race on this bicycle. It's a gift from him, and it's yeah, carbon fiber in 1992. It looks very different. I mean, the handlebars is kind of funny. This is very special too. We have this bike here of Mr. Bundi from Switzerland, which was the 1980 Olympic Games in Moscow. A trainee bike. This is not the bike he won the gold medal with, but he trained on this bike. It's Columbus tubing that is undersized, so everything is, it's smaller 1-inch head tube and the steering tube, and the seat post is very thin. It's only made for like a few races. Like after a few races, it's too soft. Ginelli Pista from the 60s, East German national track team. very rare. Only 5 pieces were made. It's in the Cinelli book too because it is really rare. It's like such a beauty. That's a piece of art. It's not really about cycling for me anymore. This is just art. I mean, so for a coffee bar, we serve coffee, drinks, little snacks, because the bicycle and the coffee is kind of like a thing that go hand in hand, I think. It's the best energy drink for a cyclist, a coffee. Not the Turkish coffee though. Difficult.
Mortimer'e kahvemizin 40 yıllık hatırı olduğunu hatırlatıyor, sohbeti için teşekkür ediyoruz. Varsayalım Berlin'e geldiniz ve bisiklet kiralamak istiyorsunuz. Ancak fiyatlar 8-10 Euro'dan başlıyor. Sıradaki konuklarımız Olga ve Rachel bize şöyle ekonomik bir çözüm sunuyor.
So right now we're hanging out in one of the art and cultural alternative spaces in Berlin. Very colorful, lots of murals, lots of shared use spaces here. And we're part of Bike Surf Berlin. It's based on the idea that bikes should be something that we can and should share. Bike Surf Berlin was started with the idea that when you travel through Berlin, it's such a bike city, but these bike rental places, it costs 8 to 10 to 12 euros a day to rent a bike, and that discourages a lot of people from using bikes. So for a short period of time, we can loan people bikes for donations and get more people on bikes, get people to experience what it's like to be on a bike in a really bike-friendly place.
Let's imagine the very standard situation. You're a tourist coming to Berlin and you think that you want to take a bike and to explore the city by bike. So you go to our webpage and then there are sections where you can check which bikes are available for the dates that you need. And then you fill in the request form. Then we see the request. And if everything is all right, then the bike surfer receives a confirmation email. So in the confirmation letter, you also get the address where the bike is available, and that's it. You're done. More than 1 year into the operational phase, we're still severely underfunded, and we are always encouraging our bike surfers to donate to the project. And our website shows that maintaining the bike on daily basis takes 50 cents per bike per day, so which is definitely not that much.
Evet, günde 50 centlik bir bağış karşılığında Bikesurf'ten bisiklet kiralamak mümkün. Olga'nın da belirttiği gibi bu sembolik ücretler aslında bisikletlerin bakımı için harcanıyor. Yani Bikesurf projesindeki asıl amaç para kazanmak değil, daha çok insanın bisikletle Berlin'i dolaşması. Biri Rusya'dan, diğeri Amerika'dan gelip Berlin'de yaşamaya başlayan konuklarımızdan bisikletli kent deneyimlerini bizimle paylaşmalarını istedik.
Living in Moscow, biking is definitely not your priority. Traffic is crazy and absolutely not meant for bikes. In the recent years, there was an uprise of bike use, but it's totally different compared to Berlin. It's more a lifestyle for wealthy, young, progressive people, but very often people will put their bikes into their cars, bring it to a park, ride in the park, put it back in the car and go home. Because riding around the city, you can't use a bike as a means of transportation. It's just dangerous and there are no bike lines, and cars are the kings of the road and bikes are third class or fourth class.
I find it much easier to ride bikes here than in the US places that I've lived. I've lived in California and Portland and Seattle and in Hawaii also, and in all these places, even the places that are fairly bike friendly for the US, still not too many people ride bikes. It's harder to find bike lanes, and fewer drivers know about the relationship between bikes and drivers, so it feels more dangerous or more threatening to ride a bike.
Coming to Berlin, it totally changed. It was my second important purchase after renting a flat, coming to Berlin.
I've lived in Berlin for a little less than a year now. I ride my bike every day here. It's my primary mode of transportation. Most days, most weather, it's easy enough to get around on a bike, and it's usually one of the quickest and cheapest ways to get around Berlin.
I want to feel comfortable on the bike, so if it's raining or if it's snowing, I prefer public transport. But if it's nice weather, I prefer using my bike because it's really the fastest and the most convenient way to get around. Usually it's faster than public transport, and it's very safe. What I also find very convenient in Berlin is that you're allowed to take bikes in trams, buses and metro, which is, for example, prohibited in Moscow. So if something is wrong with your bike, you can just put it on the public transport and continue your way, or if the weather is bad.
Bike surf ile bisiklet kiralamak yerine rehberli bir tura katılmaya ne dersiniz? Bisikletli tur rehberi Julian ve arkadaşları Berlin'i bisikletle keşfetmemiz için birbirinden keyifli tur programları sunuyor.
About 20 plus guides working, and we do tours. Our basic city tour is just 4.5 hours riding through Berlin and seeing the major historical sites. Obviously Berlin has some pretty incredible 20th century history, and we cover as much as we can during that 4.5 hours. I guess I don't know our exact philosophy, but I mean, generally speaking, we love the history of the city, obviously. And everybody who works here is very passionate about Berlin, also very passionate about cycling, and so we like to share that with whoever wants to join us on a tour. Our regular city tour that we offer every day at 11 o'clock and 4 p.m. You actually don't need to reserve, you can just show up, and we always have enough bikes, we always have enough guides, that's never an issue. And then we do a bunch of specialty tours as well, talking more specifically about Cold War, Nazi Germany, the Prussians, that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, Berlin is the perfect city for bike tours. It's set up very wide streets, tons of bike lanes, bike traffic signals, and motorists are generally much more aware of cyclists here in Berlin because so many people commute on a daily basis, so they have to be aware of cyclists, and they're a lot more respectful than tends to be the case in other cities. You said you're from Turkey? Yeah, so I'm sure riding a bike through Istanbul is probably a little bit different than riding a bike through Berlin. And yeah, I mean, Berlin was essentially, designed with bikes in mind, at least the traffic plans. So yeah, in that sense, it's the perfect city. Also, it happens to be completely flat, more or less. So again, really great. I mean, you're never working particularly hard on our bike tours to keep up anything like that. And the way that Berlin is set up historically, the sites, it works really well on bike because it is a bit of a spread out city. So to walk all the sites that we do in a day, it would be a pretty long day of walking, but to do it on bike, you don't even feel tired at the end of it. So perfect city for it.
Bas Pedala'da bu bölümün sonuna gelmişiz. Bir sonraki bölümde buluşuncaya kadar herkese bol pedallı günler. Bas Pedala bitti.